Hi, I'm Elisa.
I'm Rebekah.
And welcome to our knitting podcast. Hi, Carl. You want to join the podcast? Yeah?
We have already made a lot of things starting this year, and it's not even the end of January yet. We've got
It's almost the end
one
of
more
January.
day.
We're very close. Yeah, we can just get started with what we've been working
what
on.
we've been working on.
Yes, this is the Fennel Seed Jacket by Florence Miller. I finished it a couple days ago just in time for my birthday. Just in time. This is an all-over broken rib cardigan. I used North Bay Fibers Elemental Fingering, which is like a Corriedale. I don't know what any of the sheep fibers are, but apparently it's really bouncy and squishy, and I agree, it was really fun. I'll definitely use that yarn again. Held with Knit and Crochet Cloudpaca, it's just the Joanne brand. I use the same yarn for my mittens that I did in December, and those mittens are already pilling. So we will see how long this sweater lasts without pilling, but it's all right. It's really squishy, really soft. Like it's keeping me warm right now, so I have no regrets.
And that color is so cute.
It's a lot more vibrant than I would typically go for. I'm very much, have been knitting in neutral tones. I was nervous to try anything too bright because you don't want to spend that much time and energy and money on something that you're not going to wear, but I very much do like this. I got these beautiful, cute button bands from our favorite yarn store down the street, Dandelion Fiber Company. They're just very like, I don't know, it's like a fun sweater with a fun little button.
Yeah, it's like a confetti, like sprinkles.
I've gone for like very neutral things, very neutral buttons. So this is much more out of my comfort zone than I've ever done. I sized up half a needle size, or like half a millimeter needle on the body and the ribbing, so I used 5.5 millimeter and 4.5 millimeter. I'm normally a very loose knitter, but I think I had gauge swatched on the correct needle size and the one above, and I just liked the way this one draped better. I think I was close to gauge on both. I don't even remember, honestly. It grew a lot with blocking. Like I remember doing the swatch and I was like, ooh, this ain't even close. And then I just got it wet and it felt like an accordion. It just grew so much. So so it was very fun. But yes, I like the pre-blocking of this sweater. Well, maybe we'll have to include a little snippet. I took a little video because the sleeves are so short, the body is so short. It looks like I'm trying on like a children's sweater. And then post-blocking, it's the perfect length. I don't even know, I couldn't have done that more perfectly if I planned it. Yeah, I just was like, I hope this is good. I kind of just got sick of knitting it, so I bound off. But yeah, they're just absolutely perfect.
I love it. I'm excited to make one of those.
Yeah, I think you should. It's like thicker than a normal cardigan, that's why it's a jacket, but it's perfect on a day like today where it's like 45, 50 degrees out, don't even need a real coat. So that is technically is my second finished object. My first finished object since our last video is this little Lovey.
So cute.
I know, I made this for a dear friend of mine who is pregnant. It's like so early, they don't even know the gender yet. So I was like, I just gotta knit them something. So I found there were a lot of crochet patterns and I know how to crochet, but so does this friend. And I was like, I wanna make her something that she can't make.
Yeah.
So I wanted to knit something. So I decided to go with a little Lovey. They're not very
cute.
There's a lot of patterns out there for knit stuffed animals and Loveys. And they are interesting to say the least. So this is the cutest one. It came with like 5 other different animals that you could choose from, like a pig and a lamb and a bear and whatnot. So I think there will be very many children in the future who will get one of these. I use Lion brand Feels Like Butta, which is very soft. So I can see why they named it that. Like it's just very smooth. So yeah, I really liked it. Got a lot of practice with seaming things together. I don't seam a lot of things. Did some little embroidery for the eye and the nose. It's not sewn on there straight. It's supposed to be like diagonal or on the diagonal.
Yeah.
And it's like almost, but it's just barely.
You would never know.
It's just barely not quite looking at the middle. So, oh well. She doesn't notice, or she doesn't really care, so I don't really care. A baby's probably not gonna care.
I've just never seen a stuffed animal knit before. Like you only see crocheted pattern, so I can't even imagine like how
the construction was very unique.
Pattern is,
but it walked you through it very well, like with the ears and how you get the little bend. I was very impressed. But it did say to knit very tightly so that way you don't see the stuffing, and I didn't quite knit tight enough. I even like sized down on my needles. Like I was like, ooh, I'm a loose knitter, and Yeah, you can see the stuffing a little bit. So I'll be curious how this holds up over time with love and wear from a small child. But right now, sitting on a shelf, it looks cute.
So cute.
So those are my finished objects.
I don't want one. Well, my finished object is what I'm wearing. It is the porcelain sweater. In our last video, we included it in our what we knit in a year of 2024 because we got the body done and kind of bound off in a way that looked good and wore it as like a slip over for Christmas. But since then I have finished the sleeves, so I can now wear it. And this is my very first sweater. As you can kind of see, the sleeves are a little short and I have blocked it twice. So I think I'll just have to have more of this 1x1 rib.
Oh, that means you have to undo. Did you do tubular or Italian bind off?
Tubular.
Oh,
yeah. But I will do it because it is a little embarrassing wearing it.
Yeah, it just feels like you don't have the right size sweater on when your sleeves are too short.
Yeah, I love the pattern. It was super easy to follow, but we did realize after almost completing our sweaters that we used the wrong yarn size.
Yeah.
It called for 10 peer gint, and
we read just regular peer gint.
We just assumed peer gint.
I didn't even know there was a 10 peer gint.
Right. So we actually used double Sunday, which is pretty close to peer gint.
Yeah. And I used Sunday held double. So same thing.
Yeah. So it is quite a bit thicker of a garment. Like I've seen other people's and how flowy it is. And it's not like, it's not flowy. It's just, it's got a lot more structure to it. But it's surprisingly not like super warm. Like I still can breathe and regulate temperature pretty well, which is really great. I did end up not using the mohair for the neckline so that it wouldn't be so irritating because it is just a little bit itchy, so.
Just a little bit.
Yeah, but
yeah,
it's worth it.
So you used double Sunday and knitting for olive soft silk mohair.
Yep.
And I used Sunday held double with the soft silk mohair. Speaking of,
let's see it.
Speaking of, mine is not.
How far are you?
Mine is not a finished object quite yet. It's so close, so close. Probably next week sometime I'll finish it. But I do have a sleeve.
Yay.
A sleeve in like a quarter.
And your sleeves look so much bigger than mine. Like, I
don't
mean,
know.
you really can't tell with my arm on it, but yeah, I'm curious to see if yours will block.
Longer.
Long.
Yeah, it is very interesting to look at. You can see post-blocked and pre-blocked. I can't speak. This is the post block and how like just even the color work is. I was very intentional to make sure that the stockinette sections weren't like wider than the color work sections. But this is just what it naturally looks like. And it definitely pulls in with the color work because it is tighter.
Yeah.
And then kind of bubbles out with the stockinette rows. Rebekah tried to warn me that her sleeves are too short, but alas, it was a little bit too late because she added this color work row on her sleeve, and I thought it was the cutest thing ever.
Yeah.
Because otherwise it's just stockinette in the main color and then your 1x1 rib. And it doesn't look bad, it just is like, that's the most of one color that you have in the sweater. Everywhere else you've got like 16 rows or something.
Yep.
And so it just kind of looked disproportionate to the rest of the sweater. You added the...
Yeah, I just used the little motif of this first section. Because yeah, every review that I looked at with girls with long arms like me, it just looked strange.
There's too much
how
main
much
color.
main color was at the wrist.
Yeah. So I had already done this and I was not about to rip it out because I was not feeling it.
No.
So I just made a really long cuff ribbing. I mean, it's like what it calls for in the pattern, but I never usually do this long of ribbing. So we'll see what I think. This is probably the longest I've ever gone for in a cuff rib, and I actually really do like it. So I think I just normally get kind of lazy and like peter out at like 3 or 4 centimeters. I'm like, yeah, it's fine, it's whatever.
It'll block out.
Right, and then you like
then it doesn't.
these little itty bitty cuffs. So I'm really proud of myself that I stuck out this sleeve cuff for a while and knit it 7 whole centimeters long.
Yeah.
That's a lot of
Now you just have to do the other sleeve.
We'll see if that happens. We'll see if that happens given our acquisitions, which we'll talk about in a minute. All right.
So for my whips, after I finished the sweater, I cast on the Northland sweater. I'm making the sweater for my husband. and I'm almost done with the first sleeve. Getting there. Yeah, this has been really fun to make because the pattern is so simple. After doing this sweater, I'm like, wow, knitting
this
is
had
easy.
like short rows and color work, knitting color work flat, and this is
and it's a
circle.
bigger needle size, all the things. Yeah, there's not even any German short rows. It's just a contiguous saddle shoulder construction. So you never have to like take things off your needles or anything. Yeah, I'm using this yarn by Noro. It's the Madara in yen. And for some reason, it called for like to have 7 skeins,
Hanks,
whatever they are, of it. And, or maybe I just did my math wrong, but I still have 3 left. So I don't know, like, I don't know how much I'm gonna have left over, but I have some ideas for if I do. Yeah, I wanted to make my husband a sweater because he actually has graciously volunteered to be our tech and producer for this channel, which has been really fun to see him get so excited about our knitting. I did not expect.
He's excited about the tech and producing aspect of it. He's not excited about the knitting, and that's okay. This is like very much his passion and interest.
So yeah, he got us these little microphones.
Very fun.
Got us all set up. So he definitely deserves a sweater. And the best part about knitting for your husband is that you can wear it.
Yeah.
So I plan on it.
I think, again, people who do not know your husband don't know how perfect that sweater is, though.
Yes.
Like, it's the texture, the color, the little tweedy bits, like all of it is like so
and
Noah.
The yarn is from Japan. And he loves Japan.
It's like perfect. It's perfect. So I'm excited to see him wear it. I think it'll look really good on him.
Yeah. I've joked, it's kind of like an elevated carpet pad. But it's so cool. Yeah, it's just like, you wouldn't see this anywhere. And I'm excited to see what it looks like blocked.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, see how it blooms. It'll look really good.
What are you working on?
Oh, well.
I mean,
okay, my next work in progress is not really what I'm working on. I'm gonna share it here once and then probably not talk about it for a couple months until it's finished. This is my Musselburgh hat by Ysolda Teague. I started this because my friend and I were at an event and we kind of had a bad day and there was a yarn store nearby. And I was like, do you wanna go to the yarn store and get in a better mood with me? So we did, and I bought some blue sky fibers, something. We'll put it on the screen or in the description. It's like an alpaca something. It was on sale. It was like Black Friday sale or whatever, Small Business Saturday. So I was like, yeah, let's do it. Let's make a hat. And I had seen raving reviews about the Musselburgh hat.
Yeah.
I don't think people like share how much of a slog this is. Like, this is awful. I will love the finished product, I'm sure. But goodness gracious, it takes forever. I am knitting this on 2.25 millimeter needles. So that might be why. But I mean, like, it looks like everybody else's gauge-wise. I think this is also like a sport weight yarn, so I don't know. We'll see how it turns out, but I think you have to knit like a lot of hat.
Yeah.
So I've still got a long ways to go. It's the perfect little like throw it in your bag because it's kind of small. Like, I'm not a big sock knitter, so then, and it's really hard to take a sweater on the go sometimes. Or moments where you're like, oh, I could knit here, but it feels a little inconsiderate to bust out a whole sweater, or like I only have a few minutes here and there and not enough time to whip out my 4 skeins of yarn for this massive color work project. So this is perfect for those situations. So it's just kind of a background project that I'll maybe work on here or there if I'm desperate. But I mean, I get like 3 rows in and I'm like, gosh, I'd rather just be bored. Like, it's so boring, but it will be such a nice, like, perfect little hat. And I know that, so I want to persevere
and
through
you'll wear it and you'll be like, I should make another color.
Exactly. I'll be like, I want this in this yarn or this color. And then I'll foolishly decide to cast it on again, but then it'll be worth it because it's a lovely hat. So I just have to push through. But it's hard when there's like much more fascinating and there's a lot more novelty to other projects that pulls me away from this. So, but that's okay. This is my Musselburgh. I'll bring it up probably once I finish it.
Right. So maybe next year.
Exactly. I'll have it for next winter.
I don't really want to be the person that has multiple whips, but I did cast this next project on because I just wanted to show more than just the yarn that I had got for it. So I cast on the Georgia sweater by Colibri by Johanna in this beautiful Norwegian red. It's gonna be this kind of like a drapey balloon sleeves with this beautiful, voluptuous, I think that it says in the pattern, like this giant bow on the back. It's so cool. And the reason I'm making this is for my sister's wedding.
Not my wedding, our younger sister's wedding.
I guess, yeah, we should preface. Our younger sister's wedding. And I'm using Biche Bouche yarn. It is Le Petite Silk and Mohair, which is 30% mulberry silk and 70% super kid mohair, which I don't know what that means. How can a kid be
super?
Even super?
I don't know. We don't know much about yarn composition if you can't tell.
But it is so soft.
I gotta feel this.
Yeah. I have a little swatch too. But it's funny, I kind of have this one rule for myself with color is that like I can have any color except for red. Like I just have always excluded red from my home, from my wardrobe. And so for me to be super drawn to this kind of Merlot red, it's been really interesting to see. But I think it's gonna look really great.
I mean, it's like a deeper, darker red. It's not like a bright, vibrant, in your face. So it does seem very you.
Yeah.
And it is the perfect match for your dress that you're wearing. So
that's the goal.
I mean, you gotta.
So I've got the shoulder and the front connected. But I have to now not touch it and finish this.
Which is so hard to do. Oh my gosh.
This is why I try and make rules for myself.
We're not following them very well though, apparently. No. So that is all that we have for works in progress. So now we'll get on to some acquisitions and our future plans. We're not really big acquisition people. Like we don't just buy yarn to buy yarn. Like I don't have a stash. And we have been following that very well. Like I'm not gonna buy a sweater's quantity worth of yarn if I don't have a plan for it. Yeah. Just like financially, that's not my vibe. And also, I don't have the storage space for that. No hate to people with a stash, it's just not what we do.
Maybe if we get sponsored and people just send us yarn.
That would be the dream someday,
then we wouldn't.
That's true. We would make rules for that. If you wanted to send us yarn, I'd break my rules for that. But I did get some things for my birthday, so that was very fun. I got some interesting things from Rebekah and from my mom. I put these on my Christmas wish list because nobody ever knows what to get me for my birthday or for Christmas, and I was like, these are very practical things. Like I didn't know what to ask for. But I was sick of blocking things with my sewing pins, because when you really need to block something, you have to block it like at every inch. And that's so many pins in a blocking board. And then you have to take them all out afterwards. Like, oh my gosh, it's just a lot of work. So I got the Knit Pro knit blockers. I got a chance to try them out yesterday when I reblocked this with the button band, and they're lovely. It makes life so easy. Gosh, like how I feel like I was living in the Stone Ages and now I've got an iPhone. Like this is wonderful. So very happy about those. And then I got the Lumos knitting light, which looks so cool. Stupid, but is actually kind of a dream. Like it's so fun. There's like multiple settings on them.
We love a good gadget that just solves a small problem.
Right, exactly. And I mean, I would always kind of have to like turn the lamp on and kind of crane my neck this way to see if you're working with dark yarn in the dark. So this is kind of perfect. And then, you know, for watching like a movie, my husband would be fine with me turning the lamp on, but it wasn't his favorite thing. Yeah. So this is a little bit less invasive. Or you had even said like for in the car, if it's dark out, I just would never knit because I don't like turning on the overhead light on in the car. But this may solve that problem. I haven't tried it though, so I don't know how well it works. So that is kind of all we've got for acquisitions. But for future plans, this is, okay, I cast it on the gauge swatch 10 minutes ago because I also didn't want to just show a ball of yarn. But now I just have 4 rows, which is really not much to show. So this is Pure Gauge by Sandnes Garn in the color Arctic Ice, and I'm gonna make a Moby sweater out of this. Nice. I do have to finish up a couple things first before I get to this. So I was just gonna gauge swatch just for funs. I actually took these out of my porcelain sweater sleeve to Gage watch this right now. So it will have to return to that and I'll have to finish that sleeve first. But I'm very excited to try Peer Gynt. I've never tried it before. It is kind of like a more woolly wool, but I've heard great things about how it softens up with walking and just how durable it is. Like it could last forever and just be a nice quality sweater for a long time. So those are some of my future plans that I've got yarn for.
I do have another plan. I'm trying to get ahead of it and just think through, okay, what am I gonna need done in April and March so that we're not frantically finishing our knits the day before or on the drive to or the behind stage while you...
I sewed these buttons on in between the rehearsal and the church service. It was fine. One's just a little bit crooked, but it's okay.
Again, we're really trying our best to have good habits and
to plan ahead.
Yes. So,
which is not us.
My friend's birthday is in April, and I got the yarn for it. I am going to use the Wool and the Gang Big Love Cotton in this beautiful color called Cornflower Blue. I'm obsessed. This is my favorite color.
Yeah, it's totally you. And it's also very Christina, so
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm just gonna make her this really fun bulky sweater. I still haven't found the pattern I want to use. I do want it to be like a drop shoulder stockinette. So if you have any suggestions, we'll see. But
it's a very soft yarn. Like I'm used to like cotton being really stiff.
Yeah.
But it's very soft. So I think it'll make a really nice sweater.
And I think it's gonna end up knitting up pretty quick since
it's,
I don't know, it says on here that I'll need like a 9mm.
Gosh.
Oh wait, no.
6.5.
It's 6.5.
But size 10.5.
Yeah.
That's a big needle.
And I'm used to using like fingering right here. Yeah. So
you'll knit this sweater
summer
like in an evening.
Be rough.
Yeah, I'm not looking forward
back
to it. Yeah.
To the little yarn. So
even like, okay, this fennel seed jacket is lovely, but I mean, I was trying to crank it out last minute. And so it did hurt my hands like a lot towards the end, especially all this double knitting. And then I went back to the porcelain and it's just, it's like so soft and so smooth.
The yarn combination is magical.
It's beautiful. So it does make you think a lot about the wear and tear of things on your wrist, and you're like, ooh, that's not enjoyable. But other future plans, I would like to make a pair of penny gloves for my mom. She historically loses all of her mittens. Well, no, she loses one of every mitten.
Yeah.
So she's always wearing mismatched gloves or mismatched mittens because she can only find one of either of them. So my plan is to make her 3 penny gloves, because then when she loses one, she'll have 2. Who knows? Who knows how it'll go? It's kind of just funny at this point.
Yeah.
I also heard Amy from Knits said they're really great because you can leave them on when you're like running your errands. And so I'm hoping like she can leave them on when she's like on her phone or when she's driving or when she goes to the grocery store or whatnot. And then she'll be less likely to lose one because they'll just be on her hands. And they're like reversible, I think. I don't think there's a right and left.
Right.
So that was why I chose the penny gloves. And if she loses a right, she's got an extra one. Doesn't matter. So I'm planning to use some leftovers from the porcelain sweater because originally I ran out of yarn and then I bought more and I think I way overshot. So I'll use some leftovers for that. And then I'd like to make a little head wrap because we are gonna go to Copenhagen in a month or so. And the head wrap that I have right now, I made 9 years ago when I was in a crochet kick, and it looks 9 years old. So I'd like to make a new one that looks nice.
Yeah, and that would be a perfect airplane.
That's true.
Knit.
Oh, I could just make that on the airplane.
Yeah, we're trying to think through
what to make.
What we want to make on the airplane. What do we want to even shop for?
Yeah.
Because we're not going to have a lot of space.
And also, like, how much of do you want? Like, you have to know what sweater you want to make so you can get the right quantity.
Quantity, yeah.
So we have some ideas in mind. We're thinking like a slip over, make something matching with some yarn there. But if you guys have any suggestions for places to go in Copenhagen or specific yarns that you love there, our local yarn store does have a decent selection of Sandnes Garn and Knitting for Olive, so I'm less worried about that, but there's definitely more colors out there that they don't have, so if there's one that's like really calling our name.
Yeah.
But otherwise, if there's like specific Danish yarn, we'll also be going to Italy for our sister's wedding because she just decided to get married in Italy because she's cool like that. And I haven't heard of any Italian yarn brands, so if there's any that you're like, oh, this is to die for, we'll be near Rome. So I haven't looked up any yarn stores there. I was really more caught up in the Copenhagen thing. That was cooler.
I think we'll be yarned up by that point.
Maybe. So we'll see. We'll see.
We've been doing a lot of research.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
So let us know if you have any suggestions or any thoughts in that aspect of things. I think that's all that we have for this episode. We're planning some fun things in the works. We'll maybe include our little sister in them too, because it's sister knit, so. But she doesn't knit, so.
Right.
So we'll see how that goes, but stay tuned for all of those things.
Yeah.
Leave us a comment if you're working on anything similar or what you're working on in the moment. We'd love to hear about it and read what you guys are doing. So.
Yeah, happy knitting.
Yeah, thanks for watching.
Bye.